Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're not going to be doing a play-by-play, we're going to be doing a tier list. We are here on SMITE Source. Most of you guys know this as a website that Weekend primarily has kind of backed and also founded for SMITE 2. Previously, this was kind of mostly a website that he would post his things, I think, with some of his admins and stuff as well to post builds, but recently, it has gone public in the sense of anybody can upload their builds. I've spoken a little bit behind the scenes with Weekend and an admin, Hou Yi, who does like the actual website stuff for this, and they were super, super cool, very nice, and they've always been very nice, so big ups to that. But I'm a featured creator now on this site, so if you want to look at a god, and let's say you need to figure out Achilles, you want an Achilles build, you click on Achilles, right? Look at this, look at this, look at this. And you go to, one second, sorry, I'm very bad at websites. Did I make an Achilles build? I don't think I made an Achilles build. Okay, don't go to Achilles. Go to Amaterasu. I haven't made an Achilles build yet. That's on me. You go to Amaterasu, you check featured. Look, it's your boy, featured, right there. Snatty with the Twitch link. I mean, yeah, awesome stuff. So I will be making all of the solo builds that I can on here. This is open creation, so anybody can make a build. Obviously, this has just gone public quite recently, so you're not going to see a billion builds for every god. But anyone can make a build, and featured will be like certified. Check these out. These are really ones you can roll with. You click on the build, you can see notes. For some of these characters, I haven't done a lot of notes, or I've done very minor notes, just because I feel like it's either semi-self-explanatory, but you get to see, like, should you go aspect? Is there anything you want to know? These are the builds. Again, things like that. Very helpful. I'll obviously continue to polish up and add more stuff for my things. This is kind of like your screenshot page. Obviously, I'll update it for the patches for the solo stuff. But again, yeah, that's kind of what's going on. So I just want to show you guys this. It's been super fun, super cool. Really enjoyed so far doing this, and yeah, I mean they're just dope because I was actually just making builds like on my own, and Weekend and them have always like been super like supportive of me, even though we don't have like a formal like I formal sounds very weird. We don't like we haven't really spoken much honestly, and he was just like super cool. They have me as a featured stream here sometimes when uh he's not live and stuff. So that's also like very nice because we kind of occupy like different time slots. So it's super nice, it's super helpful. It's not something I like sought for or asked for, just something that they kind of did because they're good people. And I really appreciate that. And quite honestly, for a tier list, I really needed to use a cleaner HUD. I did not enjoy the tier list HUD that we were using before. Um, so this is like super cool to use a setup that's really cool. Anyways, I'll actually get into it now. But I just wanted to kind of let you guys know that because that was dope. Made my day yesterday, but or today, not yesterday. But you'll see this tomorrow, so will be yesterday. But we're doing a tier list. I have V tier as A plus. The A plus wasn't working, so I just put V tier. But this is our tier list, and I am gonna do base and aspects for this, okay? And I'm gonna try to be brief because I'm very long-winded. I want to give you guys info quickly with kind of cliff notes, and I will obviously rate them separately from aspect to non-aspect. And I'll try to talk about what the rules are, for these characters, and yeah, let's just get into it. Okay, cool. So Achilles, A plus, V plus, whatever you want to say. This is again our A plus. This will not be in order. This is just alphabetical order. So I'm not going to say like if I put Anubis in this tier, which I won't, but if I did, I'm not, going to put Anubis ahead of Achilles if I think he's better. That's too much. But Achilles, what's with Achilles? Just a very good jungler, a very good solo. He has incredible fight. A little bit risky, but this guy is a pace pusher. I think right now the game is more snowbally than it has been in the past. So if you're playing a character that can just push the pace and win early, and sort of tends to outfight other junglers and solos, even though he's a little bit volatile in riskiness, that value is just very, I would say, clear. And I like this guy a lot. I think he's very good. Agni, another A plus. I think he's top 5 mid still right now. Currently, I look at him as a range CC mid laner, which is, in my mind, when I look at drafts, I look at supports and solos as giving CC, sometimes junglers. And when somebody outside of those roles can do damage and provide relevant CC, it becomes really a big relic nightmare for the entire enemy team. And Agni is one of those characters that's extremely safe, has very good, easy to use CC, and has honestly not the highest damage in this game, but enough range to kind of make up for that at times. I would say lackluster ish damage, where a lot of mages just don't have the CC on top of the at times lackluster damage. So I really value that from Agni, and I tend to find backliners that have CC are, in my mind, rated higher. Not always, but especially when they're safe. Agni, A plus for me. Aladdin, easy S tier, very stat inflated. This god is one of those gods that lower level players typically are very bad with. As a result, he's kind of just like in pro play, top play jail. He's banned every game. I kind of try to use my S tier as a you should ban these gods every game tier, and A plus is like what you should be playing every game tier, so I hope that helps. Amaterasu. Um, I'm gonna put her in A tier, honestly. I think Ama solo is really good. I am probably gonna have Ama higher than anybody else will have her. I have been on the train that Amaterasu is quite good. You guys have seen my videos. I think she's quite decent. I think because solo has less econ, meaning less gold, proportionate to what it had before, characters that have intrinsic tankiness attached to them, I know I'm giving you like a word vomit here, but characters that have intrinsic tankiness to them perform better because they have less gold more often, right? So if I'm playing a character like a backline solo, that's a damage god. Let's say I'm playing uh, Vulcan damage solo, or say Anhur solo, or Uller solo. I need a level of gold to be relevant. I need my Tahudis, my Ob Shards, my Titan's Banes, whatever, relative to the god I'm building. And I might need attack speed, I might need crit, whatever the case might be. That's a lot, and as a solo laner, backliners have fallen because they need a lot of gold, and with less side camps, with a more snowbally game, that's a big issue. A god like Amaterasu, who has a team aura with the ones, she has mitigations that just make her tankier on her 2, she has the passive, which reduces enemy protections, really lends her in as being a character that can show value despite potentially having 1 to 2k less gold than junglers and mids, which is like very realistic in the current game. And I think that is always something you want. Are the lanes potentially a bit difficult? Yes, but are they playable if you play them well? Also, yes. Really like Ama. I still say that, all saying that, putting her in A tier, because most people have her in C or D tier, but I really do think she's solid. Check out the videos, you will see. On her, A plus. Pretty easy pick. This god is a good hunter. There are better hunters who are insanely overpowered, but like if they didn't exist, he would be right up there. He has good safety, good pressure, good self peel. The pillar applies extra damage in this game and to a higher cliff than it even did previously. It got recently buffed. This got a CC immunity. His ults, not the best, but if you just use it for immunity, it's quite good. Very safe, flexible ADC. It's kind of always a decent pick. Anubis is going to go into the B tier. I'm debating C tier, honestly. I really don't love Anubis, but I'm going to give his buffs that he just got some love. He got basically just that whenever he ultimates, he has Prots and Lifesteal instantly applied, which makes him marginally better. I think this god still struggles from the I don't really do enough damage for how risky I am trade off that a lot of these semi dodgy backliners have. I think the difference with Anubis is like in the combat blink meta upgrade, that's very useful for him, and he is functionally a very good counter pick into certain gods that get hard countered by displacement immunity, like Aries, like Aladdin. And yeah, I mean, are there a lot of mid laners that can do that? Agni, aside from that, Aphrodite, I suppose, with the ult, but he has really on-demand displacement immunity, excuse me. I think that's useful. I'm not going to make it the biggest deal in the world, but I think he has niche applications that are viable, but in most games, he's probably a C-tier god. Aphrodite, A tier. Mid lane Aphro is garbage. That would be like C tier. Support Aphrodite is quite strong. I think you link to somebody, you have Lifebinder or Yogis, you go triple active item. You are strong. You're pretty good into melee supports aside from Sobek, and you are a nice kind of god that can kind of cancel out like the E sets of the world with the silences. You're not quite as good as an E set support, but you still have like some intrinsic value. So overall, I like her. Apollo, this is base. Um, I think A tier is a good spot for him. I like the global a lot. I don't love Apollo and dual lane too much, but I think the global value for being able to split push or being able to catch people who are cross mapping when you're trying to do objectives in the late game if you have a lead is a really surefire way to kind of uh, close gaps on games that are winning but not completely won. Again, I think this character excels as you get up in higher levels of play. In some ways, but also gets worse because people are better at map play, so you kind of give and you take. But overall, I think he's a pretty like fine ADC. I think he's in a solid, nice spot right now. Aries, easy A plus to me, bordering on S tier. I think team beads obviously is not in the game. You go upgraded beads to get team beads. Most supports don't want to go it. They want to go the Aegises, they want to go the Shells, they want to go the Blinks, maybe the Sunders even. Upgraded beads feels very much second or even third tier to a lot of these other upgraded actives. People don't want to go them. Yes, naturally there's a lot of displacement immune, but this god has pressure, this god has forcefulness in duo, and this god still has the cripples with the chains. Very good character. Super good with wind sprites obviously on the map with the cripple. And I think overall, excuse me, just a really good pick. One that I really like. Aries is very solid. Artemis, I think A plus tier is where I'd put her. Similar for Agni. Obviously not nearly as safe, but this guy has so much beads burn potential. I think her ultimate's incredible. One of the best ults for a backliner in the game in my mind. I'm really high on Artemis. Yes, she is unsafe, but a lot of backliners go quite high protection builds with Aegis or even Magi's or both in their builds right now. I really do like the kind of threat that an Artemis puts on the map where if she's not attended to heavily, she's gonna kind of just feast and win the game. And if she's attended to heavily, if her support has good peel, again, a lot of these backline-esque supports like Iset Yamoja can. And then if you're pressuring duo and not killing the Artemis, the solo laner is getting rocks, then he's getting fed. It's a big issue. I think it's hard to put so many resources on an ADC to ruin their game. It's not undoable, so she's still got her drawbacks, but I do really like Artemis right now. Artio. Um, I think A plus. I think Artio non-aspect is really strong, and I do think it is worth playing all the time. I don't quite think it's S tier, but Artio non-aspect in my mind is much better than Artio aspect. I've talked about this a lot in different videos, but the primary thing is that you have flexibility on this character, be it solo or support. You can engage, peel, do something in between. You can kind of be a bit of a bait and run away. The movement speed just lets you be so flexible. I really like the character. Athena is A tier. I think as a support, she's quite solid. As a jungle, full damage, quite solid. I don't think Athena aspect is ever the way to play her. We'll get to that eventually. But yeah, a lot of damage potential in the jungle. Solo, I'm a little low on it right now. But support, easy beads burn, kind of just the worst areas, but still a good character. Wheelix is complete garbage. This god is functionally a damage character. She doesn't have a lot of value besides just pure damage. Obviously, some beads burn, but it's really just a damage character, and she doesn't do enough damage. So it's very hard to justify playing this character. She has cheesy knockup interactions, but by and large, this god is a noob stomper, respectfully, and she has been tuned very low to accompany the fact that in lower ranks she just wreaks havoc. In higher ranks, this character is just not really a problem or even a pick. Bacchus. I this is probably gonna be unpopular. I really don't like this god. I feel like he's just so like mid, but like not mid because mid would not be C tier. I just like dislike this character. I think he does nothing. I think support Bacchus is garbage. Obviously this is base solo aspects a little bit better, maybe, but like I just don't like this character. I feel like he provides so little. Ranged supports are so much better. There's melee supports I like a lot more. I don't think melee supports are very good. He has prot scaling on his one auto attack, which in the pre-alpha when there was a lot less self-peel on characters was like decent. In 2026, not so much. I think this god is completely forgettable and just not good right now. Maybe I'm too harsh on Bacchus, but yeah. Baron, base, I'm going to put in the B tier. I think it's okay, but he's functionally worse than Aspect in just about every way. You have more team play, but less pressure. If you have less pressure on a god like Baron, you don't have space. If you don't have space, you can't cast. So you need pressure to cast to apply your team saving CC and abilities, but if you don't have that, which you won't with base, you don't get to play. That being said, functionally is Baron solo or Baron support non-aspect still viable? In counter picks, yes, but aspect is just way better. Bologna, A plus. I had her in S tier before. I think the nerfs have done enough to Reaper Lash. I think she is one of those characters that needed Reaper Lash more than other gods. And now that it's fallen a little bit, is she still very good? Yes. Has she been hurt a little bit? In my mind, yes. I think she has some bad matchups that have gotten slightly worse, i.e. the Ardio lane, i.e. the Osiris Aspect lane, i.e. the Mordred lane, which is not like bad necessarily, but it's a bit flippy. The Mulan lane is definitely one. The Jormungandr lane is definitely one. She's still very good, but I don't think quite what she used to be, so I put her in A+. Cabrakan base, A tier. Very risky in the sense that he's very low range. So if you get camped, which is very possibly a threat, you struggle, but he is a stat checking machine, really valuable in solo. I'm not a huge fan of cap support, but I think this guy is still an ultimate stopper and very good lockdown character. I do like him a lot. But again, the drawback of low range can be very sketchy, especially if you fall behind, you're just kind of useless. Cerberus. Honestly, I don't think he's a horrible god. I'm just kind of sad when I see him. I feel like he was an anti-heal character, and post anti-heal, he doesn't have a great identity. In solo, he's fine. In support, he's probably better. Maybe he's an A tier support. God does decent base damage, but the scaling doesn't really work, so going a kind of hybridy, some amount of int build doesn't feel good. In solo, or like in Smite 1, you'd go like Breastplate into Deso on this character. He's a little sad. He's not actually like trash, but when I think of Serb, this is not the Serb I remember. I hope he kind of gets, maybe not a buff, but it's just something. He just feels kind of empty right now to me. Kernanos. I hate Kern. I think this god is so awesome to play, but there is a huge issue in Smite 2 where there are characters that have more pressure than the pressure designed characters, and they have 10 times more safety. We'll get to them, but it really is annoying that this god has no safety and worse pressure than gods that are unkillable. It makes no sense to me. Yeah, current C tier, sorry. Chalk, this is base. Base chalk, B tier, I'd say. I think it's like okay. The problem is I just think aspect is much better. I like anti-heal on the aspect. I like prophetic slash bluestone proc ability on the aspect. I think when you are going a non-aspect chalk, you are going a kind of conceding self-sustained build, obviously, to help your laning phase, and that's usually just a crutch that you don't need. That nerfs your character overall. Probably not something I'd recommend. Cupid. A plus. I like Cupid. I think he is a good CC-ish, not truly providing ADC, who forces Stampede very well. Other things in this game, there's plenty of slows, so Stampede is potentially procced by a lot. If Stampede is down, this Guzzle is incredible. If it's not down, then it'll get popped by this. Supports have a lot of items to build. They can get overloaded pretty quick. Cupid, I like. Daji. I'm going to be a little bit shocking here. I'm going to put her in the 8s here. I think the nerfs were enough. Some people, I think, still have the belief that she's an S tier god. I think she has been hit hard enough in the damage components that as a character very similar to a Wheelix, and yes, I know her ultimate is very good in this game, don't get me wrong, but she is very similar to a Wheelix in that her primary causation and issue around her is her damage. And when her damage gets hit significantly enough, which I believe it has, she loses a lot. Now, is her ult still very good? Yes. Is her damage still very good? Yes. Does she have CC? Not really, aside from the ult, which is a very long cooldown and is not always super applicable. So is the character strong? Yes. Is she what she used to be? I don't think even close. I think her legacy is overrating her right now, and I think she will slowly fall down in viability in the coming days, just in terms of like proficiency, in terms of like ban amount and stuff. I think she'll slowly start getting banned less. Danza base. I like Danza, A tier. I think Yeah, A tier is good. I probably would have put him A plus before. I think Danza really got hurt by the well, I think Double Relic kind of hurt him. I think Polynomicon getting nerfed kind of hurt him. Again, I'm saying all this stuff, putting him in A tier. I think he's good. His damage is very high, but it used to be better. I think Double Relic is sad because he thrived in the one Relic meta. But he's still good. His damage is still very good. His split push potential is still very good. The CC from the 2 is incredible. Int builds are amazing. I have a build on Smite Source on Danza. Let's check it really quick. Is it still? I mean, I hope I did. If like I thought I had a Achilles build. Now it's just like a fever dream. Um, okay. Here. Look, Snad Nation. Let's go. Okay. Anyways, Danza A tier. Disco also A tier. Character has a very good passive. Cool. Damage is, well, what you expect from a mage, and she has less viable CC than an Agni. I think she's just a slightly worse Agni. I like the god. I think she's awesome. Her damage is, like, good in the sense of if you have your passive and you have a lead, you can be very strong. But her damage, like, proportionally to other mages, I think is good, but not, like, way better. And I think most mages struggle if they don't have clear, constant utility. I feel like her 1 feels also a tiny bit worse to use in this game, even though it's technically stronger. And I haven't really been able to get over that. I do like the god. I might move her up to A plus as time passes, but right now I have her in A tier. E set, this is base. Ooh. I'm gonna say S tier, dude. I think E set is so unbelievably broken, base and aspect, that the only reason we don't see more base E set is because aspect is like S plus. That's really it. This character is incredible, and she should be banned every single game. Mid lane is awesome. Like, the damage is so high. You can play ESET full damage solo. I have a video on that. I completely entered it. That's on me. But, like, I promise you, this god's OP. Just crazy damage, so much burst potential, such easy free lane pressure. It's a mess. Fenrir, B tier. I liked him in A tier before. I don't think he has a perfect build. I think he really got by with the Lash builds recently. But with the Lash builds being nerfed, can he still go them? Yes. Are there better gods that you can build tanky like Odin? Absolutely. I think he's just a little bit forgettable, but he's not like horrible. He's just kind of like a hybridy jungler that can do very well, is really good into certain gods, like, could be good into like Daji Susano, but by and large, I think there's just better gods who use the pendulums, excuse me, the Oathsworn spears and the Heart Seekers and stuff of the world. I was talking about pendulum before I recorded this, that's why I said that. Okay, Ganesha. Kind of. I mean, okay, so here's the thing. Ganesha is really good because he's impossible to mess up. So you have to be like the worst player in the world to play this god bad, and even then you'll play him fine. He is such a floor raiser, and I think support is a role that has a lot of players who are not support mains or not that great at the game, to be honest. And that really helps because if you play a god like Ganesha, you can play up, where if you play a character that has execution to them, you will typically not perform if you're not really comfortable with it. So I think that artificially props this god up. I think Ganesha should be bad, and I think he is bad. I don't like this character right now. I think he was highly benefited by the auras of Smite 1 that gave him extra prots, but in this current state, I don't like him. Geb, uh, same exact issue. Not quite. He's a bit more execution heavy, but low pressure kind of just loses the game. Eventually, can he be very good? Sure, but you won't get there. Guan Yu base. Guan Yu base, I think, is quite sad. I think Guan Yu aspect's way better. You can play this damage jungle. Why? You can play a crit jungle. You'll get in a Troll Thursdays video from me. Yeah, I don't know. Like, the damage is actually fine, but like when I play Guan Yu with full strength builds in jungle, I'm like, yeah, the damage is okay, but like if I played Susanoo, I would have done double the damage and had a way better stat line and time, you know what I mean? And if I play him solo without aspect, I'm like, I'm not healing for anything. This just feels kind of sad. And his lanes are abysmal, by the way. So, yeah. Hades, bit of a shocker. I'm going to put him in B tier. I think the buffs have helped. I think he's a tiny bit underrated right now. I think that him getting another inadvertent buff was Lash nerfs. Obviously, he can go Lash, and he actually typically does go Lash. I have the build here. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you, I've done my preparation. This is a Hades solo tank build that I've just made recently. And the idea is just that if you are hybridy, you are tank, I think full damage Hades is very dodgy. I don't recommend it, but I will give it some more tries at least. If you build a build that is, going and taking advantage of last year, dealing physical damage with those proc ticks, and you're full int with lifesteal, with defense, you're going to do very well. You get some active items on there. I think you have a lot of potential as lanes are decent. Rush Blink, you'll be fine. Uh, the problem is that he won't feel that tanky if the jungler or mid is very ahead, which can happen in this game, or ADC. But if there isn't like a super raid boss backliner and you're farming well and you're like even-ish with them, you'll feel very valuable. And again, he mainly got buffs that made him slightly tankier, and I think you do feel them. He feels okay, not great, but okay. It's so crazy how like different in tone my Baron B tier placement is for non-aspect than Hades, because like Hades everybody would have in triple F tier, and Baron people would probably have an A tier, so that's why I feel like I have to make the case. But yeah, Hekate, easy S tier, best mid in the game, aside from Iset, and because Iset's really a support most of the time, even though they're both on par, yeah, I mean she's just insane. The mid lane role as a whole I don't think is great, but Hekate really props it up. This god is awesome, should be banned every game. Probably won't be because I think she's a very high skill ceiling character, so you have to be very good. Biggest tip I have for Hekate is she has way more range than you think with her 1 and her 2 and her 3. Please use it. Hercules. He got buffed. I played him and I was like, wow, this sucks. Yeah, I can't stand this god. Now, Titan Talk recently, I believe it was Pon, but it might have been somebody else. Maybe it was Clumsy. I don't remember because I've watched a lot of Titan Talks. I know nerd emoji, right? Yeah, they were talking about how a god like Hercules, because he's so straightforward and I think in a lot of ways easy, he kind of can't be very good. So I'm like, man, I should not be mentioning names if I'm like so bad on the quote here. The gist was that because of the way the character is, it's probably not a great thing if they're super good. And they applied that to Hercules. I don't remember for the life of me who it was, so I'm sorry for butchering the paraphrase. But I agree and understand that idea. Nonetheless, and I guess in success of that idea, this god blows. So, yeah, not a fan. Hercules, excuse me, Hou Yi, S tier. Why? His jump, he is untargetable. Folks, I don't get it. This character's jump breaks the game. I don't understand what it is. It feels like a bug, and maybe it is a bug. This character is untargetable. You can Poseidon ult with a whirlpool and he jumps it. You can throw whatever you want at him, he's gonna jump it. Aries ult, jump, everything jump. You literally cannot reach this character. He's immune for like a full 2 seconds before he jumps. He has the best escape in the game. The ricochet is super strong, and I think it's bugged by the way, and he's still this good. One of the best gods in the game, definitely worth a permaban in my mind. Mulan, A tier, most overrated god in the game. She is fine. I like her. I think she's strong. Is she a top solo laner? No. She is kind of like Ganesha in solo, where I don't think her kit is super complex, and I think players can do better on her because she's less complicated. But as an actual character, she is kind of like Achilles, where she is very unsafe. Has, mind you, this Achilles A plus placement is mostly for jungle. She's very unsafe, has generally short range. The setup potential is good, but you have to level up the grapple. Her late game is worse than it is without added movement speed late game. I think overall she's fine, but definitely got weaker, and I feel like her perception got better after she got nerfed, which was very odd. Definitely a fine character, but not what she used to be. And before she was A plus, so it's like, yeah. Hunbats, base A plus. I think base Hunbats A plus is a solid spot. Good character, a lot of kind of like pseudo immunity frames. This character, I think, is close as comparison to Smite One God, which just sounds ridiculous as Camazotz. Feels like you can never hit this god. He always feels untargetable with his jump and stuff, and I think he is frustrating on that regard, and I think he is still too strong, but at least he's worse than he used to be, so I guess I'll take it. Izanami. This character is weird because she is a specialist character. Not a lot of people play her, but I say all that to say she's garbage. She doesn't get buffs, I think because she is so specialized that she's not actually like performing super poorly, but like the best Izanami players, first of all, are usually not very good. They're just Izanami mains. And the character looks abysmal. I've never seen this god do well, except for yours truly, Izanami in solo. Yeah, this god's garbage. Like, probably the worst god in the game. And yeah, don't play her. Giannis. Gonna probably spook some people here. I'm gonna put him in B tier. I don't like Giannis. He is a util mage, in theory, but movement on the map is not as required as it used to be. I think a Smite 1 ultimate Giannis to like an objective was more helpful because people were typically a bit slower. I think Giannis ulting to a side lane to impact the fight is less relevant than it used to be in Smite 1. And the side lane teleportations being removed, the teleporters being removed have hurt him. His solo laning, which I'm not basing this off of solo, doesn't really exist anymore. So he's just a mid laner. I don't think his jungle is very good. And as a mid laner, I don't think he does enough damage. Again, a lot of magical characters don't do enough damage. I think Giannis is one of the biggest uh, sufferers of this. And yes, there are things you can do with the thresholds and all that to increase your damage. I don't think it's enough, man. I think this god is quite sad right now. He's the weakest win rate god in Obsidian Plus for the last patches. Yes, that's kind of a new moment. Don't get me wrong. He's not that bad. But I think he's massively, massively overrated. And anytime I see this god, I know I'm going to lose the game on my team. So sad. Jingwei, easy S tier. Why? Remember when I talked about Kurnos being super unsafe with not enough pressure? I want a god like Kurnos to be better. Jing Wei has so much pressure, is literally unkillable, just like Hou Yi, and does more damage than probably any god in the game. These crit builds are incredible. Dagger of Frenzy, the two autos are unmissable. After you dash, you reset your two. It just doesn't make sense why this character is so good. She's a power farmer who has pressure. I don't get it. Like Freya, she's the closest comp is to Freya, but she has a good early game clear and fight. Freya had a good early game fight, but her clear was abysmal. And if you played to clear, you couldn't fight. She's just like Jingwei right now is better than Freya ever was in Smite 1, which is ridiculous to say, but it's true. I don't understand this character. I don't know how she's not like gutted. I am gonna get annoyed if I talk about it, but yeah, it makes me very sad. I can't stand this god. Jormungandr, A plus. Why? Um, he's just strong, man. I mean, good laner, quite easy. Anti-heal on the pools is really nice. Generally does very well into all melee characters. Can struggle a bit more into ranged characters, but a lot of those aren't that good in solo right now. I really think the character is very valuable. The ultimate buff he got was nice to compensate for some of the damage loss, but even with the damage loss, he's still a force in the solo. Very good character. Definitely recommend playing him. Kali, as much as this hurts to say, she is complete trash. I love this character. I play her solo all the time. In Kali, she sucks. Yeah, it's a shame. Um, I think the biggest reason she sucks is probably everything in her kit, honestly, but Reaper heals for almost as much as this god's kill passive, which got reduced because of anti-heal, like those changes on that patch. So you have a Kali passive on Reaper in the Moonlight phase. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about this god. Like, she is just so trash. I don't know. It's sad. Khepri, uh, B tier. I think he is a step above some of these other defensive supports because he has more pressure. Overall, kind of just a slightly worse Afro, who is a better Geb and Ganesha, who is a worse RDO and Aries, and well, Aries is defensive, but you know, some of these other ones. Just melee supports in general a bit ugly. Cuckoo A, very average mid. I think he's fine. I like him. I think he's in a good spot. No need to look at him. Loki, also A tier. His damage got buffed. I think this character's upside is incredible. But he takes a bit to scale, and I don't think he has the proactivity of like an Aladdin jungle. Even though Aladdin's early game is weaker than his late game, I think Loki can just be, pun intended, a little bit invisible in the early to mid game. And junglers have a lot of impact and presence on the map. So his late game is like incredible. His late game is like S tier, but his presence on the way to late game I think is quite low potentially. So definitely a good character, just kind of one of those gods that I think is a little bit contrasting with like the ideals of what the jungle role brings. But that being said, like he still does a lot of damage and he's very good at that. Medusa A plus. Her damage buffs were a big deal. She shreds people. The full strength build with Carver, no Carver, Crusher, Heartseeker, whatever you want to go, is insane. She just bursts people. I will get another video on this god soon. She's super fun, and yeah, her buffs helped out big time. Mercury, another A plus. Really solid jungler. Crit's very good. If crit's very good, Merc's very good. High pace, high tempo. Kind of like Loki, except his early game is actually pretty decent. And yeah, he's a little bit more predictable, but I say that. You can hold down lanes to find good angles. Really good objective burn. That's quite nice, especially for EFG. Great character. Merlin, A plus. I think Merlin, along with Hekate, Iset, and Agni, are the best mids in the game that are mages, and yeah, he takes the mantle really well. A lot of cooldown, uh, not cooldown, excuse me. A lot of abilities for a lot of procs. Very strong character, and then the ice dash reducing cooldowns. That's what I was trying to say. Is incredibly valuable for a +1. Probably the best +1 that I can think of in this game off the top of my head. Quite easily. Very very strong character. Mordred, A tier, probably a bit surprising. I think Mordred is a super good lane bully that reminds me a lot of Mulan. I think he is a little bit overrated. And the lifesteal builds are very strong on him. You can go Carver, Lash, all that stuff. This god from behind is garbage. And I don't mean behind in solo. He can still play. But if you have a mid jungle that's concentrating farm, which they generally are, and you're playing Mordred and you're behind into them, you are just going to kind of get popped in team fights. Again, this is maybe more of a competitive bias because I think in ranked he's probably an A plus or even an S tier. But in high level of play, which I try to base this off of, I just don't think this character is consistently as viable as he used to be. Still has carry potential, has a lot of upside, just kind of volatile, and I personally don't value that super high. Neith, A plus. Really good hunter mid. Uh, Aspect and ADC is quite good. Again, A plus is kind of what you should really be making your drafts out of. Very solid character. I like her a lot. I think she's, a character that is very easy, remains good, got slightly worse due to poly nerfs. I think double active actually hurt her a little bit more than it helped her because she was quite safe already, and she just typically does not get as valuable ults off, but overall still good. Nem, I think super average A tier. I think she's solid. I like her in the jungle. I think non-aspect solo is also fine. Is it the #1 jungle pick of all time? No, but the shield is super underrated in this game. Very strong reflect damage and a very good heal. I think quite a sneakily undervalued god overall by most players. Nuwa base is garbage. Like this is terrible. Nuwa base is like D tier. Yeah, base Nuwa sucks. They nerfed her heavily, and there's literally zero purpose to play it. Proc items do half damage on the ultimate, so if you go aspect, you could go crazy. If you don't go aspect, you do nothing. And yeah, that's all I can say about it. New A tier. This is non-aspect, of course. I think Int Newt is solid but unsafe, and I think Strength Newt was very bad but got buffed, so I'm unsure about it. This god is banned every single game because their aspect is the most OP shit of all time. But base Newt I think is fine. I think she's fun. I like her a lot in solo. I like her in mid. These int builds are solid, lot of burst, just at the trade-off of being semi-unsafe and inconsistent. Very Danzaburo-esque to me. Odin, A+. Slightly worse due to Reaper Lash nerfs in the jungle. Odin solo is probably about an A tier. His clear speed also got hit a bit with the jungle stars getting a slight nerf. Overall, still very good. I think Forcing Shell is not as valuable as it once was for people to be building because upgraded shell is quite nice. But it's still good. This god, if he gets passive stacks, gets very high stats, obviously, and just kind of wins games. I really do like him. I still think he's quite solid. Osiris base, I'll put in A tier. Is that harsh? Yeah, I think, I actually don't know. Osiris base. Yeah, I'm gonna put an A tier. I don't think Osiris, like this one might be pending for me. I think the thing with Osiris base is his damage is very low, and you can just kind of be a stalling Sundering X type of guy where you just play poke like you did in Smite 1. But I don't know. He doesn't feel as tanky. I know the mitts and stuff. I'm gonna put him in A plus. It's weird. I think the thing with Osiris in this game is he feels a little bit janky, but the base mitts on his character makes him feel tankier than he is, even if he doesn't feel that tanky in this game compared to Smite 1. Like, if I were to compare him to Smite 1 version, he's way worse in this game, but the base tankiness is very valuable. I think with Golden Blade being better than it used to be now as well, he has a clear first item to rush. I don't love him with the Lash builds personally, so that getting a bit worse to me is whatever. And yeah, you really just have to poke with Sundering Axe and play a safe, kind of slow game. You don't want to become too auto-attacky because then you'll just in and do no damage. So you have to be a little bit careful. I think he's a bit finicky. I feel like his curvature as a character is weird. He spawns in very strong, then he kind of falls off a little bit, then he gets stronger again as he gets like a first upgraded relic, and then he gets weak, and then he gets really strong again once he's full build. So kind of an awkward character, but I think his highs are extremely high and his lows are like kind of low. Yeah, he's weird to me, but he's definitely good. Like I put him in A tier, and then I thought about it. And I was like, that just can't be right. So A plus for him. Pele, I think a little sad. Not garbage or anything, but she is a better Oelix. Does a lot of damage, but that's all she does. And there's gods that do more damage with more utility, or maybe do as much damage with more utility. So yeah, Poseidon, I think fine. This god, I feel like gets no play. I feel like a lot of people, and I might be wrong, probably have him lower, but I think he's solid. Like I like him. I don't see him much. I think he should be played more. To me, he's a lot like Nem. I just never see this god, but I think I should. Bari, A tier. Uh, Unsafe-ish, but the damage potential with these inbuilds nowadays is very high. I just think there's a lot of risk incurred. Again, I think of her like I think of Int Newt in Danzaburo. Really good damage potential, a little bit janky. Very freaking fun, though. Very cool. Really like this god. I think A is a great spot for her. Ra, another A tier god. Again, I think Secure is better with Sunder not being a secure Sunder, and his pressure is very good. He's very unsafe, but the double relic situation helps him out big time. His damage is still a little bit lacking in this game comparatively, but the 2 with Nimble Ring is very good. 2 with Soul Reaver is very good. Uh, yeah, he's overall I think in a pretty okay spot. I actually like where Rai is right now in the meta. Rama, I think B tier. He has pressure, but you need to walk up to auto attack with Rama, like basically on melees to get really good astral arrows, and that's not super realistic. I want to say his ultimate damage is good. But I think there's just kind of better that are safer. He's like a better Kern, but him and Kern to me are still in similar situations. Scylla, I don't like. I think Scylla is safe, which is good, but I think her damage is too low. I know that it's part of the stacking fantasy that she is kind of this permascaler or whatever, but I think she has too little reward early game. I think she needs some slight, very slight base damage buffs on this character, or at least base scaling buffs for the ultimate. So pre getting a ton of stacks, your ult should probably do a bit more damage. Sobek. Sobek's an A tier. I think he's very average. A lot of good games on Sobek, a lot of terrible games on Sobek. Very popular character, so I think it's expected to see a nice spread of performances. And yeah, I think he can be very good into other melee supports, into certain backliners like Aphrodite, and then he can also go like 0 and 50 into a good Scylla support or something like that. Sobek solo is unplayable, don't even bother, but yeah, support is a pretty fine god. Soul, I think another A tier. Magical crit coming in obviously as herder, but I think her pressure and damage is still very good. Magical anti-crit, excuse me, with the spectral, but I still think her damage is very good. I still like the character. I think she was played a ton more last patch, and now is seen next to no play because people are kind of like reverberating still from that recent shift, but I think she's underplayed. I think we should see more Soul as time passes. Wukong, C tier. He is tanky, kind of. This god does no damage, like literally no damage. The only reason I don't have him in D tier, excuse me, is because like at least he kind of like has survivability, and I think that stall in a lower econ role, as I've talked about before, which helps gods like Amma and base OC, helps Wukong, but his actual damage is like mega F tier. This god feels so weak damage wise, and it's because of his plus ones where it's like if I use my strength ability, well, all my abilities are strength, but if I use my ability from some distance away, I do less damage. Like I get the idea, and I think the plus ones on this character are very cool in concept, but I think it's way too punishing that if I won somebody from a max distance, I actually have like less scaling when somebody else will won me from a max distance on like Osiris, and they won't have lower scaling, and they're just gonna do more damage and be tankier and like and be a better god. It's just kind of weird. So yeah, Wukong is a weird one for me. I know I just kind of like trailed off there, but he's a bit odd. I don't really know what to do with him, how he can get better from here. I think he just needs a bit of not walk back on the plus ones, but he shouldn't be punished so hard for not being in the correct zone, so to speak, because he currently feels like he is. Susano is, I think, A plus. Like I'm a bit biased because I'm not a jungle player, and when I off roll to jungle, I play this god practically every game. I really like him. I think he's very strong. Yes, he's a pure damage god mostly, but he has a decent amount of displacement with the pull, and I think he's so good at doing damage that I think he can kind of kill and burst people with more agency than Adaji and obviously Wheelix and Pele and stuff. I realize that for the same reason I'm putting these gods lower, like Daji, Wheelix and stuff, I'm putting Susano up, but I just think he does it better than them, and I think he has less obvious drawbacks. Yes, the lack of CC immunity, but I like the amount of agency he exerts. He reminds me a lot of Achilles in that way. Maybe I'm a little biased on this one though. I can hear otherwise for Susano. Sylv A tier to me. I think he is so volatile. I have had my worst games on Smite 2 definitively on this character in support, but I've also seen some of the best support performances on this god. I think he. Now I want to be clear. I'm not a great Sylv player, but I'm saying that to say that I think this god has such high upside with the healing and the backliningness, but he's also so easy to just feed on. And there are defensive supports who are harder to feed on. And yes, you could say semi-skill diff, but I just think positionally he is very fraught, and that is definitely a weakness of the character. Thanatos was a lot better. I would have put him in A+. I think Dagger of Frenzy shift really hurt this god. I don't know if you can still rush Dagger and be happy on this god. If you can, he's probably still fine. If you can't, you have to rush Hydras, which is okay, but he's definitely lost a step post Dagger of Frenzy shift. Probably the hardest to hit god in the game for it. The Morrigan base, I'll put her in A tier. This one's a little bit unfair, to be honest. What's going on here? Okay, sorry, I'm like griefing so hard. Okay, there we go. What I would say about the Morrigan is like tank supportive slash solo build, very good. Full damage build, not so good. So kind of like Aphrodite, definitely being carried by her tankier builds rather than her offensive idea. Base Thor, A plus, yeah. Base Thor is really good. You don't go base Thor because aspect's even better, but base Thor is really good. He got enough buffs at this point. Very strong. Range CC. All the reasons that aspect Thor is OP, just slightly less CC. So, yeah. But more damage. You don't really need it though, but yeah, pretty good. I'll talk more about aspect when we get there. Suki, A tier. A little bit overrated, I think. I think he is a full damage god, right? But I think Susano is just better than him. I get it. He's a good Aegis Forcer. I'm not sold on Suki. I've always felt like this guy was a bit overrated. He's been nerfed a lot. He was nerfed specifically for the one relic system. We are no longer in a one relic system. I don't think he needs buffs, but I don't think he is like an A plus or S tier god personally. Uller, easy S tier. Why? Super, super stat inflated. There's no other way to put it. This character does way too much damage. He has 35 free strength, from his passive. I just think it's too much. I think this god is so unbelievably miserable to play into. he does way too much damage and he's way too quick. So he's got the late game scaling of any of these other gods while having way too much early game agency, and he is not even like needing to go Transcendence, which usually gave him a bit of scaling and kind of a bit of a slowdown because his mana is like not even bad in this game, and no god has really huge mana issues. So you just go like Hydras into Oathsword Spear and you one shot people at like level 10. It's miserable. Yeah, I can't stand him. Hope he gets nerfed. I think he will soon. But you know, we'll see. Vulcan, A tier. No, A plus. I like Vulcan a lot. I think Vulcan mid is sick. I think this guy does so much damage. The turrets are incredible. The bleed on these turrets are awesome. And the objective pressure is crazy. The overall damage is just nuts. So hard for frontliners to play into. He's so mobile, so quick. Really good character. Very underplayed. Definitely recommend him in mid. Shibalanke, A tier. I think the nerfs have finally caught up to him and he is solid, but he has been nerfed so many times that even though he has a very impactful teamfight ultimate, his overall character, I think, has just kind of been through the ringer a little bit. Umoja, A+. I think she lost a step with pressure being a little bit less valuable in duo. I think a lot of these ranged supports can deal with her okay. Before she kind of had this ranged support monopoly, I think she's lost a bit of a step, but still is very good. Ymir, um, I'm gonna say B tier. I don't think he's that bad. I think Ymir Jungle is actually pretty good. I think Ymir Solo is mid, and Ymir Support is okay, just very risky. It's very much like Sylvanus, except with less upside. Overall, not a bad character. I like him more than a Bacchus for sure. Just risky, but very high upside. I think Jungle is actually very sneakily strong for this god, and I'd like to see more Ymir Jungle gameplay in general. Maybe not on my team because again, like it does take a bit to learn, but I think this god played well, has so much upside. Benny Q's the guy who spams it a lot actually, and he does very good, very good with it. Zeus, A tier. I think he is a safe-ish mage, which sounds really stupid to say out loud, but the relic system changes help him. I think he has pretty good base damage, so you can go a little bit more defensive and feel happy. I like Zeus right now. I think he's solid. Okay, we're going to go to aspects now, guys. We're going to be a little bit quicker about this because I said a short video. How long is this video? We're 52 minutes in. Yeah, I know I did a little 4-minute preamble, but like still. Um, we'll try to be a little bit briefer on this if needed. Achilles is just weaker. I think aspect Achilles, there's no purpose of building this. Are you a bad character? No. Should you ever build it over base? No. If you're playing Achilles jungle, just go base, you're happier. This aspect doesn't allow enough upside. Yes, you can recast the combat dodge, which is this 3, but you don't need that. Your clear is good enough. So you're losing like uh, flexibility with like I believe your passive in your 2. And I know the best Achilles jungle players in the game, they are like very adamant, don't do this. I've played it a couple of times. I'm like, yeah, this just feels worse for no upside. It's just not worth it. Okay, Agni. Aspect is, this one I'm actually not super sure about. I'm gonna put it in the A tier, which is maybe a bit conservative. But like this god has gotten nerfed so many times in aspect. He was like super S tier and he got nerfed like a billion times, which was like very welcome and needed. But I feel like he is just not like he got the soul treatment too, where like, the auto attack damage with the magical crit, blah blah blah. I don't think he's trash or anything. He's still very good because he has a ranged stun and he's a backliner, but like I don't think he's what he used to be, And yeah, his damage is not what he used to be. His CC range is still very good, don't get me wrong, but I just think base Agni is probably just better. This Ama aspect is garbage. I hate this Ama aspect. It's useless, number one. But number two, when it's good, it's unhealthy for the game. I'm very adamant about the fact that I think Amaterasu needs a support aspect. I think it fits the character. Even a mid lane aspect that would make her like a full ability based int type of character like she was in the pre-alpha or alpha, whatever it was. I have a couple of videos on that. It's very old, but you would go like full in with like book into Houyi on Ama. It was very fun. I would like that. I think a aspect that does not make her an auto attack split pusher is a good thing. And when this aspect is good, which hasn't been for a long time, it's oppressive. And when it's not good, it's unusable. And right now it's unusable. On her aspect, I think just a worse version of on her. I don't think it's terrible because there's a lot of carry potential with it, but losing the pen is really rough. I'm gonna put it in B tier. I don't think you should be building it much. Apollo aspect, A tier. I think this in solo is fine. I know I haven't been playing it much personally, but I've seen it. I think it does fall off in more like structured, organized games to some degree, but very cheesy start. I know Schwash was a huge Apollo support player, really the only Apollo support player in higher level ranks, and she tends to make it look pretty good. I've not seen much Apollo support outside of, I think her and a couple other players run it. I want to say I've seen Hydra SMT run it, and a couple other players, maybe Aurora a couple of times, and it looks decent. It's a range support with good CC, just physical damage as opposed to these other ones being magical. Definitely not quite as good as them, but like I think it's solid. Probably a bit underplayed. Aries aspect, no point in playing this. I'm gonna say C tier because it's still Aries, but you losing actually no, it's a D tier. Sorry. Yeah, losing your 2 aura for a stun is really dumb. It makes sense that like a character who has CC and needs to burn Magi's has a Magi's burn in theory, but in practice you won't burn the Magi's because you're not going to get in melee range with somebody with Magi's. And before that, it's like, what's the point of this? I think once upon a time in the single relic system, it was like kind of okay. I think it's one of these aspects that have really aged like milk, and I would not recommend it. Artemis. This one's garbage. I really like it actually. I think it's very fun because it heals some, but yeah, like I had an Artemis solo build that was recommended to me by a viewer who's like an Artemis solo main. He's like on the PlayStation, he's the GOAT. Uh but yeah, I mean it's fun, but it's so tragic. Like I would not go it. RDO aspect B tier. Again, I'm very adamant that this is super overrated. I'm not going to say please don't go it because it doesn't suck, but bear aspect is not what it used to be. Lash nerfs, the lack of passive movement speed really hurts. And support, I think it's generally a little bit better if you go like Druid stance, but you are very pickable, and that's a big problem because you don't have clear mobility. So either way, mobility issues hurt this character. Athena aspect, another B tier. I just think base Athena, even full damage in jungle, is just better. Like the shield is so strong that I think you should just have it. And I don't really see the reason to not go base Athena, to be honest. So, yeah. Bacchus aspect. I'll put it in B tier. I think Bacchus aspect solo is like fine. You're actually technically overall a worse character than base Bacchus because of the changes. But if you build a tanky Triton's conch build, you have pretty good solo pressure. You actually have some really good matchups. Some really bad ones too, like Bologna and Morged are complete stinkers. But if you're into, um, say a Amaterasu, you're into a why am I like blanking? Sorry, I can literally see the gods like a Hercules or something. You're probably gonna fry them. Even if you're into some of these more backliney magical gods, like the Vulcan solos of the world, I actually think you do quite decently. You can kind of just like max your one and ignore people, even into like Artios and Achilles's. I don't think he's maybe Achilles is kind of grim, but like the Artios of the world and stuff, I don't think he's horrible. I think he's a bit niche. Cabrakan, I think he does okay into. You have to be a bit careful, but overall not bad. Baron aspect. I love Baron aspect. I think this is an easy A plus. This god has lost a little bit of ground, I think unfairly, because Lifebinder got a bit worse, and Double Relics, people think he not sucks, but he's really not getting enough play. Please keep playing Baron Aspect solo support. I think it's incredible. Most people don't think he's very good in solo. I am probably the biggest Baron believer in the game, but I love this god. I think he's very good. Bologna Aspect, literally no point in playing this. When you were playing Bologna aspect, this aspect was bugged. People did not know that. Sorry, B tier is way too generous, by the way. People did not know Bologna aspect was bugged. It gave her extra block stacks on the minions. That was a bug. When that got changed, when she fell out of favor with the auto attack builds as well, both those things completely gutted this character's aspect. It's trash. Don't go it. Cab aspect. It's fine. Different way to play the character. I like it in solo. Occasionally, it is a little gold heavy. to really get online, but you do have the potential to carry games. It gives this character very crucially an opportunity to have range, which if you lock in Cabrakan early into a draft, and then you see a solo lane matchup or you see a draft where you're like, I don't think I can go in, i.e. a Baron solo, Aspect is actually like a fairly decent cop out if you can get a tanky jungle or engagey jungler like a Hunbats or Odin or Fenrir or something like that. I actually think it's like fine. I like it. Cerberus with the stinky breath. That's gonna be a D tier for me. There's no reason to play it. It's fun, not good. Why? Because your ult doesn't pull. It just knocks up, and it's really pathetic actually. It's very sad. Current aspect. B tier. Very, very, very volatile. Like you can win or lose the game in 2 minutes. You're usually losing the game though. So yeah, if you're better than people, you're gonna hard carry. If you're worse than people, or you just don't have a good start, or you're against people who are good enough to know that this god is an insta win or loss con, you probably won't get the value you need, and then you'll become very invisible very quick. But he can just auto win a game in 2 minutes with the early fight in the jungle, and that's kind of cool. So we'll put him in B tier. Chalk aspect, A tier. Where did I put base chalk? B tier, right? Yeah, I think aspect chalk's A tier. I think it's good. Is it amazing? No, but anti-heal, poke potential, yeah, like it's just chalk. Chalk's solid. I think he's fine. Cupid aspect, C tier. Why? Well, I mean it's util on the character. I just feel like you really miss the damage, which I know is kind of weird because I feel like you shouldn't. I feel like this aspect should be better than it is, and maybe it actually like sneakily is okay. I see this aspect very rarely, and when I see it, it looks terrible. Is there a Cupid aspect solo build out there that needs a little bit of uncovering? With Golden Blade? Maybe. I'm gonna put this in C, but this is a to be determined. I need a bit more info. Dodgy aspect. Doesn't it suck now? I don't see this at all. Like, I'm gonna put it in B tier because I'm not sure, but I think it sucks. Like the problem is his base is definitely better now, but his base, like, yeah, I'm pretty sure B tier is a fine spot either way. Spectral hard counters this. I think you need a lot more attack speed to like really make it valuable. I'm not really sure though. This could be weaker. I've heard some people say it's super gutted, but like I don't actually know yet. So I'll say B tier. A Donza aspect, another B tier. The split push is good. The clones can be useful. I just think base is way better. I like the two for CC. Disco aspects is actually not out yet as of this recording. I'm recording this Saturday night. This comes out on Monday. PTS said it was very good, so I'll put it in A plus. I did not play it. I did not play against it. From other people's anecdotal opinions, I'll say A plus, but it might be S tier. I don't know. ESET aspect, easy S tier. Super ICC, very good pressure, very good safety. Literally the perfect support. So yeah, Fenrir aspects. Not good. I don't like it. I just think it's worse than base fen, and I don't think base fen's very good. But at least there's like a clear role in support where it's like technically in some ways better than base fen. So I don't think it's complete garbage, but like I wouldn't go it. I just wouldn't go Fenrir's support in any way. Aspect Ganesha I think is like B tier. I don't think it's terrible. Some very, very bad solo lanes. I think solo is its best role. I think jungle, you need more agency on your character, and this one just doesn't have enough. But there are solo lanes that are like actually kind of okay. So you just have to kind of pick and find your spots. Like he's actually really bad into Mulan, Cab, um, RDO, like he has some real stinkers, but like if you're into like a Bologna, he's like sneakily decent, which seems crazy, but is really the case. Like give him a try. He's not as bad as you remember. Geb aspect, actually very good. I am not good with this aspect. I really suck with it, but it's a crazy pressure thing, super good in ADC. I actually really think people need to be playing this more. I just suck with it, but I know it's good. I've seen it do very well. The crit potential is crazy. You have to go agility relic on this god. But if you do, that Increased velocity on the auto attacks with the insta-stack purple buff in duo lane is big time. Guan Yu aspect. Crazy, but I'm going to put him in A tier. This character is a race against the clock type of god. You will win games if you scale. If you can't scale, you will lose. But this god, at a certain point, has just too much team fight ability and scaling and healing. And I don't think he's very hard. I just think you need to understand that if you can lose less in the laning phase rather than try to gain more, and I know that sounds weird, but what I mean by that is if you can just like weather the storm and not be that behind, you should win the vast majority of your games if you're not like 20 billion gold down going into team fights. So I do like him. Kate aspect is unplayable garbage. It's good in arena, good in joust, not joust, excuse me, good in assault. Outside of arena assault, this just please don't do it. Hercules aspect, that's another one of the please don't do's. Hou Yi aspect is pretty good, actually. You go full crit on this character, the aspect bounces are kind of nuts. I actually think S tier is a fine spot to put it. It's very niche in the sense of very few people really like it, but some of the top ADCs really enjoy this aspect and swear by it. When you are Hou Yi aspect, you just need to make sure your support has good clear. Gods like Emoja, gods like Baron aspect, gods like Eset, gods like Sylvanus, so he has more space to ricochet, and that's really good. And if he has that, he'll do insanely well. Again, this aspect is actually sneakily crazy. It's just that like base Hou Yi is easier to use and more consistent, so you might be like, doesn't that make Hou Yi aspect worse? I think the upside is higher actually than base Hou Yi, but the downside's lower. So like, if you want to argue that, I'm not going to kill you for it. I get it. Hun Bats, Stun Bats. I think A plus actually. I'm very happy to say that I think his nerfs were enough, especially with Dagger of Frenzy. I think was another pseudo nerf, and the jungle starters losing a bit of strength. I still think he's frustrating and probably should get reworked with this aspect, because him being good to any capacity is probably a bad thing for the game. But he is not what he used to be, at least. So that's nice. Jormungandr, I think, is just another way to play this character. This is a more util thing. I think Yorm support is definitely not the way to play it. This is just Yorm aspect solo. A little bit more util, no poison bleed for anti-heal, which sucks, but you have more cooldown reduction, you have a higher knockup, 2 gives aura damage. It's cool, it's just different. I should play it more, it's definitely good. Kali aspect is like buns. Yeah, Fatalis is not good. She needs Fatalis, and yeah, I don't know. Kali's just like a bad character. Her aspect's not going to be good. Khepri aspect is B tier as well. I think base aspect and Khepri aspect are like both fine. Should probably put this one next to it because they're both trash. Okay. Cuckoo aspect. Actually very good. I had a very bad first impression of this, but this in tank solo is miserable to play against and actually quite strong. Outside of tank solo Cuckoo, I don't think it's good. Not a lot of Cuckoo jungle gaming I've seen, but I think it's just way too risky, so definitely tank solo is the way to play him. Loki aspect is actually fine. It's a little bit cheesy and a bit weird, but I think the solo damage potential is like okay. I really think it's a fine pick. Merlin aspect is fine. Is it a bit worse than base Merlin? Yes, because it's kind of inconsistent. But like, is there actual value with it? I think so. I just think like base Merlin is like so stable that you really don't need it. But it's not like I don't think there's the drop off. You know what? Maybe I'm gonna put in B tier because like I don't think Achilles aspect is that offensive, but it is just like straight up worse. I think Merlin aspect is generally kind of the same. Mordred, yeah, this aspect is like not good. I mean, it's not the worst. You can kind of go to jungle if you want. You just don't really need it. So yeah, I think base is just typically always better. Neith aspect to me, I know I rated Neith in A plus before because of aspect and base, but I do mean it still the same for both. I think aspect is good. I like it. Nem aspect, I'm a little low on. I actually am going to put this in B tier. I think base Nem is better than aspect Nem. I just don't think aspect Nem has a home right now in the game. I think in solo it's a little bit underwhelming, and it was probably overrated before, then it got nerfed, and system changes happened. Gods got better that were good into Nem like Bellona, and she's been sad since. Nuwa aspect, very good. Yeah, I mean, you crit for a ton. You need a scale. It's kind of like Guan Yu, but it's even more oppressive in the sense of you just kill people with an unmissable big deal. Aspect new. I don't think I need to talk about why. This is the best god in the game. It is not close. I am hoping it gets nerfed again. Osiris aspect, another A plus. Good character. Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about it. Good character, has the sickle spamming, less tanky though, so more damage for less defense, less safe, but again, more damage. So you play it as a soul laner, you do quite well. I think there are intelligence jungle builds for it that work, and you get to bypass the potential somewhat sketchy safety of the character, but overall I do think solo is the role to play him. Pele aspect, horrible. Why? This got gutted when the anti-heal changes happened. They pre-nerfed this to the ground. It has never been seen since. It is doomed. Very, very sad aspect. Definitely think it needs a rework at this point. Poseidon. Um, at least it gives good pressure, but it's just not good. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like current aspect E, except I don't think it's like as win con-y, and it's mostly just worse. But at least it gives good pressure, I guess. Kind of. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's pointless, I guess. Uh, Raw. Does this one suck? I think it does, right? I feel like this is like Pele, where it just got gutted, but I think it's got at least more util, so I'll put it in C tier. I don't think it's quite Pele aspect bad, but it's the same idea. It just got gutted by the healing changes. Rama. This one is garbage. This aspect to me is such a cool conceptual aspect. They need to lean more into this aspect and make this aspect just be part one of a redesign where they just make this god more like Jin. Like imagine from League of Legends. Imagine if his ultimate was like different, okay? And his ultimate was like instead of, these three shots, it was like almost like little, how Cerberus had the little firelings come down on the sides of him. Imagine he could throw like not firelings or something, but instead of like these three ult shots, it was like a spread shot of like cannon balls. You know what I mean? Where it was like spread little bits of damage in like a spread. Yeah, awesome language by me. And something like that, I don't know. Like work in progress, guys. I'm coming off of this off the top of my head. But I'd like to see if his one would be even lower attack speed and it would be like cannon autos that just did way more damage. I'm not saying straight up cannon, but you get the idea. I really want this kind of revolver Rama thing to really uh be leaned into and make him more of a slow shooting, reloading, higher damage per auto character. That fantasy and idea is just very underbaked right now. So it sucks and it's very weak. And the concept is awesome, it's just underbaked. I would love to pitch ideas for this aspect for a rework, and maybe I will try to. We'll see. Scylla aspect. Good. A plus. Yeah, I mean, I bet the better Scylla. It's sad when characters that are mid laners have support aspects that are better than them, or ADC aspects that are better than them, or solo lane aspects that are better than them. Looking at these three and looking at this one as well, and this one, but what can you do, man? That's the game. My favorite, Sobek, D tier, unfortunately. This aspect's awesome. I have played this aspect, I believe, 7 times in Ranked Conquest in the jungle. I have a 0% win rate, and yeah, it's unfortunately just not good. Soul. I'm gonna say B tier. I think the problem with Soul aspect is it's just like the kit itself is not that good. So even if you in scale, yes, you have high damage potential, but like why not just play something with a better kit that can proc items better and can have more range and stuff. The damage potential is actually insane on this god, but it's just very telegraphed, so I think B tier is fine. Wukong aspect is buns. I think Wukong just sucks, so I don't really think it's an aspect issue. I think the god is just bad, so it's C tier. Sylvanus aspect, I'm gonna say A tier, not because you should go full auto attack Sylv ADC, but I think aspect Sylv solo, where you kind of play like a Bacchus aspect, is just a better version of Bacchus, where it's like you go Golden Blade Rush and then you just build full tank, and it's actually like kind of good. I think it's solid. It's a bit risky, but the pressure's really good. A lot of cool fight potential. I like it personally. I think it's cool. Thanatos. Yeah, no point of this one. Stacking health is really bad, but the bonus damage is really nice, so it's not completely an L. It's a very cool concept. It just, I don't think the stacking health from this should be like factored in for Soul Reavers and stuff. It really hurts this god. Mori aspect, probably a B tier. I think base Mori is better nowadays. This aspect has obviously very annoying applications, but definitely has taken a slide. Thor aspect is just base Thor with less damage, but more CC, the tremble, the slow, the self heal, and you don't lose enough damage. Usually, when we have aspects that shift a character's role to another role, they're meant to embrace significant drawbacks or shifts, okay? And when Osiris got ported over with the aspect, that wasn't the case. Enough nerfs have happened, so now Aspect Osiris is definitively less safe and more squishy. That's good, you know? Um, when we have a Cab aspect, he is so much squishier. You know what I mean? He has less CC, but he does way more damage. That makes sense, right? When we have a Raw aspect, he loses all of his damage, but he gains util. Makes sense, right? New aspect and Thor aspect, and not so much East aspect, but really these two, are just better versions of the god, and they don't have enough drawback power. That's the big issue. Thor needs base damage nerfs, I think, for this aspect, probably, where he does less base damage than base Thor, which sounds ridiculous, but I think he needs that. I think Newt needs the same. These characters' aspects are just so overwhelming. Base or aspect Thor was already very strong, and then it got buffed. I don't know why. Just crazy stuff. It's lunacy with these two. And I'm a huge Thor main, so like I'm saying that, right? And I'm also like one of the most played new players in ranked probably. So yeah. Aspect of Magnetsu, that's what it's called, right? I thought it was Shinjetsu for a second, but no. Yeah, not good. It's garbage. Looks cool. Name's cool. It's not good. So don't do it. Vulcan aspect. Very annoying in solo. Is it actually that good? I don't think so. I think it's very annoying, but if you can kind of just like survive the lane, it falls off. A tier. But it's still like easy to just like get fed with. And we're done. Wow, okay, so we finished. We took a long time. I said the aspects would be short, but it wasn't. Awesome. Oh no, sorry, we have two. Oh, look at me. W. This will be quick. Don't worry. Shibalanke aspect, terrible. They gutted it. I love this aspect. It sucks. Yamoja aspect, really bad, but it's very fun. This aspect is awesome, but it's so like easy to just like lose the game. It sucks. Sorry. But that'll be that. Obviously, I know I gave a good preamble and all that stuff, but yeah, I really appreciate the support, guys. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. This is the completed tier list, and we are done. See you soon. Thank you for watching as always, and I will catch you later. Bye bye.